there, Internet's Mogwai here, and I got another update video for you guys today. Almost messed it up right there, but come on, it's the first video of 2022, so I gotta start off a little bit smooth, and I'm already off to some weird pronunciation, and I'm gonna blame the rust on that. And speaking of 2022, happy belated New Year's to everybody watching this video, and I guess to the other people as well. Why not? Regardless of whether you choose to stick around watching this channel or not, I appreciate your support so far, and hopefully everything goes well for you. Hopefully 2022 has been off to a good start for you, and whatever your endeavors are, I wish you the best of luck in them. For those who are only interested in quick information regarding what's going on with this channel and what to expect this year onwards, I'm going to give you guys a quick TLDR before I hop on to other subjects that I'm going to be talking about and what this update video is going to be ultimately about, which is a few things. It's been a while since we talked, and I figured, I could make this video. I enjoy making these videos, which I just like ramble in front of the camera with nobody interrupting me. It's fantastic. I live for it, and I miss doing them. So yeah, I'm going off the rails. TLDR, quickly, for people who don't really care about my life or anything else, like I take no offense to it. In case you just care about the content, the daily Legends of Runeterra videos will be returning tomorrow onwards. Tomorrow onwards, daily Legends of Runeterra videos are back, and they are there to stay. All right, me and Gabby are set to go. Like, she arrived earlier today, and we're gonna get the ball rolling, and we're both very excited for it. All right. Get that out of the way. I will be talking more about the content. That's like I have like a series of like talking points here. Like, the rest of the video is gonna be very raw. Like, there's no script, but there are some subjects that I want to cover, and I'll be diving further on the content in a little bit as well. But I wanted to lead off with that, just for those of you who just want to get that information and go on about, right? So for those of you who care about my life, I mean, at least a little bit here and there, I'm going to be talking about several points, and I have a lot of really good energy with me, as I've been through some tough, like, I've had a bit of a rough beginning of the year, but I'm mentally in a great place. I'm super motivated, and I have a lot of really cool stuff that I'd like to share with you. So without further ado, first of all, let's talk about my hiatus, right? Where I've been, what I've been doing, and what happened at the beginning of the year for me. I am recording, right? Thank God. Okay, so I was in Brazil. You guys, I was mentioning this in my latest videos, like that I was gonna be bulk recording and have content for you guys during my absence in Brazil, because I was spending Christmas in Brazil with Gabriela Shermy, my girlfriend, and her family. We alternate. 1 year it's with my family, and the other year it's with hers. So I was there, and I was there until, I returned earlier than Gabby. Like, she got home today, but I was here at the beginning of January. I believe I arrived January 4th, more or less, because it was a long flight, right? So yeah, the reason why there was no content, well, I'm gonna dive into that later. Like, first of all, I'm gonna go through like Brazil and the beginning of the year, and then I'll, because I'm gonna follow the ordering of my I'm actually gonna follow the little script that I have, because otherwise it's just chaos, right? So yeah, I was in Brazil, had a great time with Gabby's family. I was in a farm, and everything was fantastic except for this motherfucking rooster that would wake me up at 3 in the morning when I was at her dad's house, because he lives in like in this like town, right? It's very rural, and yeah, roosters be roosting, and they don't. I don't know, something's wrong with them, and they start, cacawing like at 3 in the morning when it's not even close to morning, and yeah, I'm not really used to that, so that was an interesting experience. But besides that, it was fantastic. I had a great time. It was a very different environment. I've been there before. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's like, the way I reference it is like Spain is like brown and Brazil is green. You thought I was being racial there, right? Gotcha. No, I'm talking about like the terrain, like if you're on a plane and you look down, like Spain is brown, like it's all brown. But if you fly over Brazil, it's all just green, which is pretty crazy for me. Like, I don't know, it's something that really impacts me, and it's just a beautiful country. And we were around Brasilia, and we even got to meet some people that I mean. Not many, but we met this Hyuga guy. I know him through Twitter, and Gabby knew him prior. And overall, it was just a really, really fun experience. And it was a great time. And it was also very productive for me because I was able to focus a lot on my story, which that'll be the talking point. Like, that'll be the last talking point. I'll have some timestamps in either the description and or the pinned comment down below. You know, hopefully I don't forget to do that. I mean, it's the first video of the year, for Christ's sake. So hopefully I don't mess that up. And yeah, I'll be talking about that later. So Brazil was great. When I got back though, well, at the literally day one, right? Day one, January 1st of 2022, I was pretty sick. I woke up and after having breakfast, I had these insane chest pains and my blood pressure was incredibly high. Like it was like very close to 180, right? Which is, you know, a pretty critical limit apparently. And I just was feeling really rough. My chest pain was awful and I felt like something was wrong, right? Like just this weird nausea that I hadn't really experienced before. And at a certain point, I legit thought, you know, I may be having a heart attack because, you know, when you go to Google and you put like intense chest pain, heart attack, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I probably should go to a hospital and make sure I'm not having a heart attack. It's probably a good idea. And the doctors were also like concerned because I had a lot of symptoms that mimicked the heart attack. I had this sensation, like this sharp pain that went all the way up to my jaw. That's not good. But it was like very specifically located, right? And that's a bit of a hint as to what it actually was. So after some tests, you know, electrocardiograms and the troponin test as well, because sometimes the EKG doesn't, you know, indicate everything. They were pretty, and a chest X-ray, they were pretty concerned that it was neither my heart nor my lungs. All right, they were both fine. I had no COVID-like symptoms or anything like that, but the sharp pain was absolutely there, and my blood pressure was really high. So ultimately, what it turned out to be is my reflux, you know, evolved like a Pokemon, and it became gastroesophageal reflux, GERD, like a very intense, you know, version of it. And essentially, because I did some heavy drinking on New Year's Eve, well, I fucked up my esophagus, and I caused myself gastritis, which is what injured my esophagus because of the reflux going up. And that sensation is pretty much identical to, or very similar to, that of like a heart attack, even though the heart attack apparently is like a lot of pressure on the chest. And in my case, it is, I was like a very mean person, which is like stabbing me just nonstop, you know? So it was very localized, right? There were a few hints that led me to believe that it wasn't really a heart issue, but when you have this ongoing pain, it's hard to really think rationally sometimes, right? So yeah, when I got back, my blood pressure would not go down. I took some medicine and started taking omeprazole, but the pain would come and go. As I would get more stressed, it would get worse. And at one point, like I woke up in the middle of the night when I arrived here, and I woke up at like 3 a.m. and the pain was so tough that I had to go to the emergency room, because it's like, what if there's actually something with my heart that they missed or something, and I'm alone in my house, you know? Like it's not a great thought, right? And the stress of that made it worse. So and again, they wanted to do it. I told them about the test that I did in Brazil, but they're like, no, we got to do this again just to make sure, because they could have missed something, or maybe the timing couldn't have shown something, whatever. But then it was confirmed that it wasn't the heart, and it was indeed just this reflux that just got like insanely bad, right? Like I've had reflux problems in the past, but never this incredible sharp pain in my chest that was just like so like overwhelming. So ultimately, I got that covered, and over time I've recovered. That's why I didn't, because I was thinking about streaming, right? I streamed one night while I was still sick, and it was fine. I had a great time, but then I woke up like pretty dead the next day. So I decided to just focus on resting and focus on what I've been focusing a lot of my free time in Brazil as well, which is my project, right? And I made great use of that. And now I'm not 100%, but I'm like 90%. You know, I still have some pain here and there, but I'm much better. Like the medication is working out. I'm off the analgesics, like paracetamol and stuff. Like I like to use those to a minimum, because I know they can have bad effects if abused, right? So as soon as I can handle the pain, I stop taking them. But the omeprazole I have to take for a while, and it's really done wonders. Like right now, I'm eating more and more, freely. I'm opening my diet, and I'm much better in that sense. So that's for those of you who follow me on Twitter and probably already know some of this, and just to share a little bit in that regard, what's been going on. So yeah, rough start of the year for me, but again, I'm feeling much better, and I'm in a great mood. And ultimately, when I knew what it was, as painful as it is, knowing what it is just really calms me, and I'm in a much better state of mind. It's like, okay, I can handle this. So that was the beginning of January for me, and now it is January 13th as I'm recording this, and I'm on my road to full recovery. As now I'm ready to just produce content, and I know that I can do it without a problem, which is fantastic, right? So speaking of content, why did I take a hiatus? So ultimately, it comes to several factors. You guys know that I was alternating between Legend of Runeterra and Teamfight Tactics a lot because I was pretty burnt out, even though I took a lot of breaks towards the end of the year, before the hiatus even. Like, it wasn't just the one-time thing, right? And it was never really a purely planned thing. I just went with the flow. And I didn't want my mental state with the game to bring down my content, because I've been covering this game ever since it came out, and I've been sticking with it for so long. And like Panda told me once, it's not a coincidence. I really do love the game, and I love making content for it. I love the fact that Legend of Runeterra allows me to build all sorts of different decks, and I love the way I format my content. And I was enjoying Teamfight Tactics a lot, but I dreaded the idea of actually making videos about it, because the way I would have to approach it, I just wasn't like, because it's more like a draft game, right? So with draft, I could just do like highlights. Oh, look at me, I had this run in which I showcased these champions or this specific team comp. And it's not content that I was excited about. When it comes to planning out Legend of Runeterra, like I take a lot of time. Like I sit down and I plan, okay, you know what, I'm gonna do this deck, and then I'm gonna build that, and then I ask people what champions they want to see. I'm like, oh, what if I try this combination? It's just, my enjoyment from the game goes beyond just the game itself. I feel like I do my own thing with it. I have my own niche with it, and I feel like I have a lot of people who watch me who don't even play the game themselves, but they like the way I do things in that regard. And I didn't want to, like, I really cherish that. I don't take that for granted. And I really, now that I've had a huge break, I miss it dearly. I really do miss it dearly. I'm super excited to actually get back into it, and I'm just in a great place in that regard. So I just wanted to clarify that. Maybe I'll play TFT every now and then, here and there. I could stream it sometimes. I haven't played it in ever since the hiatus. Like I didn't play it at all in Brazil, except a cousin of Gabby who was getting into it. So I taught him a little bit, like the principles, and I taught him how to play certain comps and stuff. But I barely played any video games in Brazil, actually. And it was great. Normally video games are kind of like an escape for most people, but since it's kind of like my job, I actually did enjoy some time off of the computer in that regard. And it was nice. So ultimately, now they're going to be bringing regular balance updates. I mean, that's what they promised. Hopefully they do deliver on that promise. And I'm really, really excited to just partake in what seems to be like a very exciting year for this game. Some people sometimes wonder, Legend of Runeterra, whoa, oh my god, it's not like huge like League of Legends or anything. Like, is it gonna be fun? What's the future of this game? It's Riot. The game has a very solid player base that's not going anywhere, and I feel like if they do things right, it can definitely fundamentally grow. But for me, I would not mind if the size just stayed as it is. I think people really underestimate the amount of players and the amount of people who enjoy Legend of Runeterra just because they focus purely on Twitch. And I think that can be a very bad indicator of the game, actually, and how well it's doing. And I think Legend of Runeterra has a bright future ahead, and one that I feel at home. Like with this game, I just feel at home, and I'm excited to just get back into the grind and into just deck building and stuff, because I love what I do. I'm really lucky, And I feel like even though, you know, no matter what you do in life, everything is like a job is a job. And sometimes you need some time off. And it's done me some great things, man, like mentally speaking. And I haven't been slacking off. Like I've been working a lot on the other thing. And I'm ready to, you know, take this year on with a nice balance between the two, and really looking forward to that. So yeah, you can expect the regular type of content and you know, what I've always been doing, but I'm going to be aiming to improve things here and there, like every aspect of it. Like for example, you guys see like my webcam, I've been tweaking the settings a lot, like my audio and everything is a little bit better than it used to be before. If you compare this video with like my Arcane Ramble video, you'll see the difference in like, you know, the camera quality and everything. And I aim to continue to improve that. And also, of course, improve what's most important, which is the content itself. I'm excited to give it my all. And that's essentially the end of that rant. Because at this point, I think I'm going to be repeating myself a little bit here and there. But hopefully you guys are excited for that. And hopefully you guys, yeah, just continue to support me. If you do, if you don't, you know, like I said, no hard feelings. Like I never take my audience for granted, because I know that, you know, you don't owe me anything. Like if you like what I put out, you watch it. If you don't, you don't. And that's that. It really is that simple. So I will do my best, and whatever happens, happens. So just really appreciate you. I just want to clarify that and make sure, you know, I always let it out, because I've never, ever taken my job for granted. I know how unstable a YouTube career can be, and I feel so fortunate in many ways. So, yeah. Moving on to the next subject, New Year changes. So, I'm changing certain aspects of my life. Like, I'm changing my sleeping schedule. I'm going to bed earlier now, and I'm actually waking up like a normal human being instead of like 12. I'm waking up at like 8:39. And it feels great. I'm being much more productive. I'm making more use of my time, and I'm more focused. And I already feel all of that. I've really implemented some very key changes. My diet as well. I'm gonna get big again. In case you're wondering what I'm talking about, you know, I'm going grappler mode this year. I used to be quite thicker, like, you know, muscular speaking. Like I used to be bigger, especially like in my fighting days. But really long after that as well. But for a long time, I've slacked, and I haven't really done as much. And I feel really motivated to like actually, you know, just get in shape again, get strong, and just look good, feel good, right? Improve my eating habits, which weren't terrible, but they can be much better. I'm gonna incorporate a lot more fiber into my diet, which is gonna help me in many ways, especially somebody like me who has a weak digestive system in general. There's just no denying the science. Fiber is amazing, and I'm going to get way more sources of it, and I know how to implement it without it being just like, you have to do it gradually, right? Like you can't just go like from, you know, this little fiber to like fucking 50 salads a day, because you're actually gonna hurt yourself. So you got to do things right. But yeah, I'm going to be much more physically active this year. And call it one of those New Year resolutions things, even though I've been applying it in Brazil as well. Before 2022 was a thing. So before it was cool. That was a terrible analogy, sort of joke. I'll get better, I promise. Or I'll try. So that's that. Look at how quickly I'm going through these. I'm turboing the fuck out of these like talking points, because now we are reaching into my last topic today, which is my manga project. For those of you who don't know, I am writing a manga, which I know for many may seem like a ridiculous idea, but my view on it is you only live once. And this is a dream of mine. This is something that I've been wanting to do forever. And I'm especially like, you know, like going through this, like really like thinking that I was actually having a heart attack and shit. Like at certain points, like I don't want to sound morbid, but I came to terms with like, hey, maybe it's my time. And I actually like accepted it. You know, like I went through like some rough shit, and it really set me even further into that perspective of just like, hey man, life is ephemeral and you got to make the most out of it. And there's no rule on how to live your life. Like, I'm not one of those people who's like, you got to do this and this and that, otherwise you're wasting your time, or you're wasting your life because life is a precious thing, yada yada yada. No, I don't believe in a rule for living. I think life is what it means to you. And that's how it is. For me, what makes me happy is I want to have an impact in the world. I want to do something I want to create something that outlives me. And in a way, content creation has provided me that, but I want to go further. I want to create something that really, really, truly impacts. And I want to make a story that truly sticks, at least for a long time. And a story that reaches many people. And I do believe I want to make it in a comic, and I believe the manga format is more ideal. But it won't be like I'm not gonna force myself to a specific type or genre or way of storytelling. Like I'm gonna tell the story my way. Obviously, like I'm reading a lot regarding proper writing and structuring and everything. Like in order for the story to actually be readable and enjoyable. Like I'm not saying I'm gonna just like fuck it, just do it my way, just like be super chaotic about it. But I'm not tying myself to like any specific genre or anything, you know? Like I'll tell the story how I feel is the best way. And that story's name is Duality. There's a very good reason for that name. I'm not gonna share it because it has some ties to like the actual, because it has some mystery elements to it and such. And it's like a name that has several different meanings essentially. And as the story progresses, that'll be more and more relevant. So I'm already probably saying too much, but essentially I have this story planned out. Like I already know the beginning and the end, and I know the overall premise, and now I just need to fill in the dots essentially. There's still so much that I have to, because this is a very ambitious project. Okay, this is essentially it's like a fantasy adventure story. It takes place in like a lot of stories do in a different world, right? Like in an imaginary world or however you want to call it. And it has a lot of like, so I'm trying to like describe it without giving away anything, because it's a very important premise to me, and I'm gonna explain why. So like why I feel, not why I feel, but how I feel about it. I have to be very careful with my wording. Essentially, there's warfare, there's politics, and there is a lot of inspiration from a lot of medium that I've consumed throughout my life. And it is a story that's been many, many years in the making. I feel extremely confident in it. And I know this may come off like arrogant and just delusional, etc. Like I understand, but I really, really do believe if I can execute this right, because I think I'm a natural storyteller, but not a natural writer. I have no credentials nor prior experience writing. And that's going to be a big challenge for me, to be able to take it from here and place it, not on a piece of paper, but on a computer, because we're in the 21st century, but you get the gist of it, right? I have this is going to be an arduous path for me. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be a hassle, to say it lightly. And it will be very, very difficult at times, for sure. And it's, it's going to be the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Like I'm not kidding myself about that. But the story that I have to share, the premise that I have to share, everything about it, I feel extremely, extremely confident that if done right, it can be one of the greatest. Like I'll say it, one of the greatest. Like I feel like it is really at that level. I feel really strongly about it, and I'm super excited to flesh it out. Like I said, it's going to be incredibly like taxing, and it's going to be one hell of a ride, and it's not something that I can rush, but I'm just super excited about it, because I really, really feel like this could be the next big chapter in my life. And the more that time has passed, the more confident I've grown in it. And I've gone through a lot of different stages, because this story has multiple perspectives, which regarding manga is actually not super common. But at the same time, the way it's structured is I'm going to have a main perspective, like a main character, and then some other main characters, but their subplots and their perspectives or point of views are going to be smaller. generally, right? That's one of the aspects of structurization that I was referring to earlier, right? That I've studied a lot on, and I've because one of the things is there's two different types of writers mainly, according to terrible writing advice, the YouTube channel. You got the architect type, and then you got the improviser, right? I don't know what the exact labels are, but you have like the guy who, like, there's like this spectrum, right? And on one end is like planning, somebody who just plans the entire plot and the entire story before actually beginning to craft and beginning to design the dialogue and the scenes and actually writing out the plot. And then you have people who improvise, who just like begin writing and they just create and improvise the story as they go. I'm definitely on the far side when it comes to the planner. I need to meticulously plan everything and have everything planned out, and that's just how I am. It's just the kind of person that I am. I apply that a lot to like my deck building and stuff. Like it's just how I approach things. Like I need to have a proper plan for something, know what I'm gonna do, and then I dive in. So I spent a lot of time crafting this story, like the entire premise, the origin, the end, everything about it, the mystery, all that. It's very, very meticulously crafted, and I've spent a lot of times it's funny because the way I think about it is I just like walk around in circles with my headphones on and I can be like walking around for like hours, dude. Like I'm actually working out a lot just by thinking, because I think better. I don't know why, but I think better when I'm moving. And I just go on these crazy walks. I go with my dog, and he loves it. He's out like for a long time, and we have like this wide area where I can take off the leash, and he can just as long I keep track that he's close to me, and I just I wander into my own little imagination land in my head. I just thinking about the imagination episode from South Park for some reason. So ultimately. I spent so much time in Brazil and here while I was sick. I made even more use of that, and it's been really important because essentially this hiatus was in a way my ultimatum. And what I mean by that is this hiatus, I had to decide if I truly, like by spending so much time specifically on that, if I was going to focus on it or not, if it was going to be worth it or not. Like I had to really be like, okay, this is the entire scope of the story. Does this feel right or does it not? And it does, and it's so exciting for me. I wish I could share more, but I can't. I have to keep it to myself. But essentially, the premise is, like I said, it's a different world, and there are nations and there's war, and like obviously like this is like the most like it seems like very like not only generic but also like very obscure. Like I'm not really giving away anything. Like, oh, a story about nations and war. Wow, I've never heard that before. But there's a lot of inspiration, not only not even close only from like manga or anime, but also like from TV shows, from books. Like A Song of Ice and Fire is, for example, a strong inspiration, even though time-wise, this is more modern, right? Like, essentially, there are tank-like vehicles and machines and stuff, and but it's not quite as advanced as, like, there's no internet, for example. The internet ruined everything. So it's kind of like, imagine, like a World War II sort of like time, but it's a fantasy, and it's a different world, so the technology is different in many, many aspects, right? And that's as far as I'll go with that. There's also unique fauna and flora. I did study biology in college, and I was a big fan of zoology, and then botany was cool as well, but I love zoology, especially like invertebrates and stuff. So I've tried to apply all that knowledge to try to design my own, my own creatures, right? My own animals, so to speak. And there's a lot of work into many aspects of that, and hopefully I can reach a point where I can start sharing the premise a bit more. But I feel like I have to have like a finished product when I actually do that, because once it's ready, I will probably start some sort of maybe like a Kickstarter or something, because I have to find an artist, right? I haven't been searching, in case you're wondering. Like I've been focusing, because the first is I have to have the story ready. Once the story is ready, then I'll search for an artist and we'll get to work in that regard. But maybe, just maybe, like I don't know exactly. I'll probably need funding. Also for like research in certain aspects as well. Like because I do, even though it is fiction, and it's a manga, I do want to respect the laws of physics and et cetera, and I want to do things right in that regard, and I'll be trying to contact all sorts of different experts on different fields for when I need information regarding something, and I'll probably require some funding, and maybe I can set up a Kickstarter in that sense, and obviously with some cool perks that are worthy for those of you who may want to potentially contribute later down the line. Do not, again, I don't want anybody to feel anywhere near close obligated to that. I'm always very nervous when talking about like donations on stream and stuff like that. Like I'm always very reserved with that because especially because young people can be very impressionable in that sense, and I want to be level-headed about it. But I do ultimately want to do everything within my power to make sure that this story actually becomes a thing, like exists, right? Because right now it's just in my head. It doesn't exist. And I want to bring it to life, and I'm just really, really excited about that. And I've been talking about it for like 15 minutes, something like that. Yeah, I knew it was going to be the longest portion because I'm just really, really, really motivated, and I want to start off the year by just saying that it's starting. I feel like I still have a lot to do. It's a slow process, but God, it's just a fascinating, just such a fun thing for me, and I can't get enough of it. And I will do everything. I'll keep reading like books to help me, also like translate writing into comics and everything. Like I'll study so much to make sure that I know what I'm doing, because as the writer, even though I won't be the artist, I will want to like design, the panels and what I want and everything. And I need to know exactly, the approach, like the different, there's a lot of nuance to it, right? That I need to tone down or to get down. But the number one priority for me right now is the story. The story is everything. Everything else comes after the story. Not only do I have to finish the story, I have to finish the story. And because that's one of the beautiful things about this creative process for me is that, because at certain stages of development, I was, at first I thought it was going to be, and one of the reasons why it was going to be named Duality is because it was two main perspectives, right? Two characters, right? Two protagonists. It was going to be like 50-50. But no, then I decided that it just, because, especially because their environments were, or like their plots were a little bit, the action was a little bit different, quite different, and there were a lot of differences in regards to their environment. And I had this ongoing sensation that I just could not get off of, just like, it didn't sit well with me. It's like, I'm not, like, how am I going to transition from these two all the time? Until finally I realized, what? This story needs to be about this character more than anything. And then, this subplot right here, but smaller. And then all of a sudden this feeling that I had that I was carrying all this time, just, it went away and it felt right. And that's one of the things, as you advance and as you find solutions to problems, once you find the right solution, it just feels right. It's right deep down, and it's a roller coaster in that sense, but it makes me feel alive, man, and I'm motivated. Like I said, I'm not doing this for the money, because if I really wanted to work for the money, I would just convert my channel into one of those like I would have these thumbnails with me. And I would just try to branch out into like reacting into shit or something. But I don't do what I do for money. As long as I can pay my bills and, I can eat and all that, I don't need anything more, to be honest. And this is just something, this is just the project of my life. This is what I want to, when the day I'm on my deathbed, I can look back and be like, you know what? I fucking did it. I went for it. Whether it turned out well or not, whatever it is, it is. But I gave it my all. And I went for it. I chased my dream. And then I can die. that was morbid. But that's how I feel. And I'm just, you know, just really motivated. But like I said, I'm motivated for that, but I'm also motivated to continue producing content. It's important for me to also, like, from both things, like, disconnect a little bit and switch it up a little bit in that sense. And I really do love making videos, and I want to get back to that. I want to get back to potentially even like streaming. I would set up a specific schedule, and it won't be like, I won't ever like stream more than 4 or 5 hours a day. So I'll figure that out as time passes as well, but I want to look into that too. And that's essentially where I'm going to be ending this TED Talk. Let's go with that. So hopefully you guys, you know, enjoyed this if you could. Again, hopefully things are starting off great for you. And I just really appreciate your support. And I really appreciate for you, like, if you stuck around this entire talk, you know. I don't know. I have good energy. I've been having great energy for like the past, you know, like week or so. Even though even when I was sick, you know, like I've been feeling great, very, very motivated, and yeah, looking forward to what the year has to offer. And just, again, I hope this also, like, in a way, this video, if something like, if I can motivate others to pursue what they want to do, as crazy of an idea as it is, or if they feel like all the odds are against them, you only live once, man. Just go for it. Like, why not? What's the worst that can happen? Like, just do it, you know? Like, life is short, man. Just go at it. Life is great. So, yeah. I'm gonna stop talking. I feel like I'm becoming like one of those self-help guys or something, like motivational speaker or some shit. I'm just in a good mood. All right, that's basically it. And I want to start off this year with a bit of an update, and that's where I'll leave it at. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this whole day. Hope you enjoyed. Hopefully you enjoyed the upcoming content. Really, that's gonna be starting tomorrow onwards. And yeah, I really do love you. Not every single one of you, because, you know, I'm an individualist, right? I do believe in individuals, not just collective people. But I know a lot of you, and for those of you who I don't know, hopefully we get to meet sometime, and I get to know you as well. And I really, really appreciate you watching what I do. And that's where I will truly stop. Again, love you. Have a solid day. Enjoy the daily content. Hopefully you're excited for tomorrow. I'll see you around.